This is Russ. Yeah, I'm back in the car again. What time is it? 8:54. 64 degrees outside. Well, I was planning to do a review today of an e-bike product, but plans got changed, and so I cannot do it until Wednesday. So I kept thinking, what am I going to do today? Well, it's only one thing to do early in the morning. And well, it's a little too early, but that's okay. I figure I can drive there. I need gas, so I'm going to go get my gas and then just sit in the parking lot. Yep. Sit in the parking lot. I either sit at home or I sit in the parking lot. What difference does it make? Anyways, I was reading the comments from today's video. Today's video was the video about Pedro asking a question about what audio equipment I have. And so I was reading some of the comments. Not too many comments yet. Probably be some more later. But there was one comment by Jojo. Yeah. That asked me what were the good things and bad things about running a stereo store back then. Yeah, that's a good question. Well, I would have to say the good things, and this is the comment I left back for him, the reply. I just said, hearing that the customers would come back and hearing them tell us how much they enjoyed the equipment that we sold them, and that the recommendations that we gave were good recommendations for them. That, I think, was probably the biggest thing that I really enjoyed about having the store, that you made the right decision for somebody and said, don't buy this one, get this one, this might be better for you. And that, I think, was probably the big highlights. Yeah. Plus probably the fact that we get to play with all the equipment. Talk about that a little bit. But he said, what was the worst things about it too? Yeah, okay. The worst things was when people tried to scam us. Yep. That was the worst thing. I mean, as a family-run business, when people scam you, they're taking money out of your pocket, essentially, right? So I recall one time my brother had sold, it's a loud truck. My brother had sold a cassette deck to some woman who paid with, I think she paid with a money order or something like that. That was a red flag right there. Yeah, well, that wasn't a good money order. Yeah, FBI got involved. Yeah, they actually stopped by and said, did you happen to sell something to this lady? And we said, yeah. She goes, well, that money's no good. Yeah, that was bad news, right? Luckily, it wasn't the very expensive equipment. I think it was maybe about $180 or something like that. I don't even know how they found out. Maybe through tracking in the banks and things. Yeah, because, the money order is something that they can track a little bit. So anyway, that was bad. Another bad time was when we got shoplifted. Yeah, I knew immediately we were going to be shoplifted. I was the only one in the store at the time. Yeah, we had 3 sound rooms in the store. So there was, 4 black guys came in, and they were looking around the store, right? One of them kept asking me questions about something, while the others were looking through the other rooms. I knew immediately what was going on. I knew immediately. So I said, okay, this is going to go down. So I was prepping myself, because as you know, I had taken martial arts. I was saying, okay, some things may not be going too good here. So I answered the guy's question. I kept walking out of the sound room, trying to see what the other guys were doing as well. The other guy kept calling me back in. I go, okay, these guys are going to be stealing stuff from us. So after they got everything in there, and the guy says, okay, we're done. They left. All right, so I immediately went into the rooms and I saw one of our turntables was missing. Yeah, it was a micro turntable. I don't know if you guys remember this, but their micro turntables were probably about the size of a stereo album, right? A record album. So it's made by Techniques back then. Yeah, interesting product, very small. So anyway, I ran out after the guys, and they were walking down towards another area with where the parking lot was. And I said, give me back the turntable. And he go, what are you talking about? And I says, the turntable that's underneath your jacket. Guy came around, gave me back the turntable. I don't know if I scared them enough or what. I mean, you got 4 guys that are pretty big guys, but they handed it back to me. I says, give it back to me, and then that'll be it. And they handed it back to me. Now, think about that. They could have pulled out a gun and shot me. I wasn't thinking about that, okay? I was, how old was I? Low 20s? Yeah, I was pretty young. All I kept thinking was someone just stole a $300-something turntable from us. I think it was around 300 something. And I wanted it back. Yeah, maybe he saw the intent in my eyes. And that I was serious about getting that turntable back. Or maybe to watch too many kung fu movies and figured this guy might kung fu us. Kung fu us. I don't know what it was, but they handed it back to me. Yep. So I would say those were the negative things about running a stereo store back in the day. Yeah. I do kind of miss all that stuff. I mentioned to Pedro that if the audio industry was like it is back then, if today's audio industry was like it was back then in the late 70s, early 80s, I'd probably still be working in the audio industry. Yeah. I'd either be a store owner or working with some manufacturing company or something like that in the audio industry. Yeah, I have no doubt it was one of the things that I really enjoyed doing. But we could see the writing on the wall that the people buying equipment was starting to slow down. And now, as we see today, we don't see a whole lot of audio stores anymore. If they are available, they are ultra high-end audio stores. That's the only ones that could survive, really, because what we used to call mid-fi, it's hi-fi and mid-fi. Mid-fi equipment, which we also sold, that part of it's gone. Yeah, I think at this point, most kids today, or I would say anyone under, let's say age of 30, they don't seem to buy audio equipment like we used to. What they do is they have personal audio equipment, right? Meaning they use their phones, they use Bluetooth to their little AirPods. They don't buy huge speakers and things like that anymore. It's very rare that you find a kid interested in that. So, yeah, we knew it was going to go downhill, and so we got out of it. I had gotten married, and then we decided to move to California. But I think had we stuck it out, we wouldn't be in business either, because it's just not possible. The only guys that still are around are the ultra high-end stereo stores. Even the guys in Chicago, some of those stores are still in business. They were competition to us back then. We sold some stereo equipment that was considered high-end as well, but we were kind of a blend of, I would say, upper mid-range equipment to high-end. We started out selling your typical, what we call mid-fi equipment, Techniques, Marantz. Well, Marantz could go high-end at this point, but back then, just kind of in the middle. Marantz, Techniques, what other things we had? We had Denon, we had Hitachi, had Luxman, we had Optonica. Think about this brand. Most people don't even know what it is. That was made by Sharp Electronics. We had a whole bunch of things, and then we had individual smaller companies like Amber Electronics, VSP Labs. These are companies that are high-end type products that you probably never heard of. But we also sold DeSoto turntables, and that was considered back then one of the top turntables you could buy. I mean, people were buying the Linz Sondek LP12 turntable. Our competition to that was the DeSoto Sapphire. Yeah, that was a recommended component, and yeah, it's still the company's still in business. It's gone through several people who've owned the company, but it's still actually in business. And I actually highlighted it in the Expona video I did on the Russ is Right channel recently. So it's interesting to me to see that product still around. But that goes to show you there is still interest in high-end audio, but not so much in the low product lines. All right, time for me to get some gas. Who's that? It looks like Tom's up ahead there. I haven't seen Tom in a long time. Tom's bothering himself, talking to other people. I'm gonna pull up. Let's see if he comes over. Okay, anyways, talk to you guys in a bit. Okay, I'm back. Spent some time talking to Tom, but Tom's got to get back to work. So anyway, yeah, what were we talking about? Yeah, getting things stolen from you. That is not the highlight of working retail. Yeah, okay. So I am way early here at Costco. It's 9:14 in the morning. I've got 45 minutes. So we got time to kill. All right, let's find a parking spot. Plenty of parking spots because nobody's here. Nobody's here this early. Yeah, let's go over this way. Park where I normally park. Yeah, I park in the same spot all the time. It's almost like reserved for me. All right, let's see. Let's turn it here. There we go. All right, now the question is are we in the sun for? Do we have any lens flare going on? I'll tell you another story too. I'm gonna put my handicap thing over here. I'm not gonna hang it because it'll get in our way. All right. So anyway, let me tell you a story here. See, we were talking about something else. What I can't even remember what we were talking about. I said if we talk about it a little bit later. Oh, whatever. I lose my train of thought all the time, as you know, and so gone. Okay, so let me tell you another story. So recently, in fact, I was talking about some of it that's related to Tom. Tom was telling me he liked watching me go to the buffets, even though he doesn't like going to buffets. He says, I need to go check out this place called North Point Bar and Grill. Okay, maybe I'll do that. It's not a buffet. He says it's a regular place, but he says they have a hot chicken sandwich that's really good. He says it's not like hot where you can't stand it hot, but it's got a kick to it, I guess. Maybe one day we'll do that. Okay, so anyway, here's what I wanted to tell you. While we were doing the buffets, I dropped my camera twice. Yeah, now you might know that I take the filter off of the camera, right? And because it causes a lens flare, a green lens flare. I don't know. You might even see it now. I can't tell because I can't. I'm recording, so I can't really tell right now. And so it had scratched the lens because it kind of dragged against the hard tile floors at two buffets. So you don't notice it. I actually used the camera still for, I got to open up the windows here. It's really getting kind of hot. The sun kind of beats down, it gets hot on the inside. So anyway, I still use the camera for doing the e-bike videos because you don't notice it there. Where you'll notice it is if the thing that you're shooting has light and it's shining into the sun, into the camera, okay, you'll see a haze in the center of the video. So I can't use it for certain types of recording, but on the e-bike videos, you don't really notice it because we've got a road in front of us. We're constantly moving and things like that. It doesn't seem to affect it much, if any, at all. So I said, but I can't use that camera for other types of recording because you're going to see, if like I was at the Creation Museum and also the Ark Encounter, some of those displays that they have that I was recording have like LCD screens, light in the display cases. They're shining at the camera. That would create the haze you would notice. I says, I can't handle that. I've got to have a better picture than that. So I bought another DJI Action 5 Pro camera. Yeah, so now I have two of them. This one is the one that's recording right now, and I have the lens filter on it currently. Now I could remove the lens filter, but I decided I can't take a chance of dropping two cameras and damaging two lenses. So this one will always have a lens filter on it, whereas the other one will not. So in situations where I believe I will probably have some type of flare going on, I will have to remove the lens filter at that time, but otherwise it'll stay on the camera. So right now I don't know whether the angle, I could see that the sun is actually hitting the lens right now, so I don't know if you're getting if you see it, it'll be a green line that comes across, and then it'll look like a little trumpet horn at the tail end of that thing. Let me know if you see that. I don't know if it is or it isn't. I can't tell when I'm recording. We have a little front-facing LCD screen, so I can kind of see if things are recording, but you can't tell if there's a lens flare going on there. It's too small of a screen. So anyways, that's basically it. I just wanted to say that, doing the audio stuff is kind of interesting. I'd probably be back in that industry if it wasn't for that. The fact that people aren't really that interested in audio gear anymore, except for the high-end guys. The high-end guys are still interested. These are guys who are basically my age and older, usually, simply because back then, audio equipment was, always got an itch, was always an interesting thing to us back then. We didn't have the money back then. Now that we're all older, we have the money to buy this stuff, right? So we support the high-end audio industry, but the middle-of-the-road type stuff, yeah, it doesn't even exist anymore because people aren't buying it, right? People are doing personal audio things. So, anyways, that's the deal. All right, I think I'm just gonna sit here and wait. Yeah, gotta wait and get a pizza. Man, I'm kind of hungry. Yeah, I didn't have a whole lot of stuff in the refrigerator again. You know, my let me close this one thing here. I got a guy who's sitting next to me here. His car's next to me. I don't want to have him hearing all the stuff. I'll just keep the other windows open. Anyways, yeah, I'm losing my train of thought again now. Did I tell you? Short-term memory is not there anymore. I think that's the biggest frustration for me is I have very bad short-term memory at this point. I mean, we're talking about something in 2 seconds, I get distracted, and now I don't know what I'm talking about anymore. That's pretty bad. Signs of getting old. All right, that's enough for today. Anyways, if you liked the video, go ahead and hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Let me know if you have any other questions on anything that you have an interest in, you want me to talk about. Yeah, we'll find things to talk about. Talk to you guys next time.